Okay, let's go with this. So I want to do at least a kind of a quick video on um, cause-related marketing. I want to touch base with some of the things that Donna Wood discusses with respect to cause-related marketing in Chapter 23. And this is a unique form of corporate charitable giving. We've already talked some about the motives of charitable giving, and there may be a small element of altruism. Something we spoke about in connection with Chapter 11 and egoism. Altruism being, just being genuinely concerned about the welfare of others. And this may be a motive why some of us as individuals donate money to charities. Does it really explain why can a company be altruistic? And this is a difficult question to answer. For most companies, their corporate charitable programs are probably rooted in some sort of self-interest. Now, the issue of tax deductions we've already addressed before. This certainly lightens the load, but it's not sufficient by itself. We have to look for some other ways for companies to justify why would they give away money when they, to, if you will, strangers or to community organizations when they could be using it in-house for employees, for customers, for owners or investors. And we've kind of been through this, the business motives for giving. And these are pretty important. And this means for most companies that they're very thoughtful and selective about which nonprofit organizations qualify for contributions and which do not. And you see that some companies like Bank of America want to emphasize workforce development, and that makes sense for Bank of America because the more people work, the more businesses that are going to be formed, the more people are going to get paychecks, they're going to need checking accounts, they're going to need credit cards, they're going to need auto loans and all that sort of stuff. So there is some sort of, if you will, kind of mutual interest that probably underlies most corporate giving. Cause-related marketing kind of takes this to another level. And I'll notice here that I'm in page 484 of Donna Wood. The Public Association of a nonprofit, I'm sorry, let me back up. The Public Association of a for-profit company with a nonprofit organization intended to promote the company's product or service and to raise money for the nonprofit. The key thing here is that the company will form a partnership with a nonprofit organization, will identify the nonprofit, and then will create a link between the company's sales and then its contributions. And so there's some examples that are mentioned. It's really kind of fun, or at least interesting to me, to go back and look at the beginning of this, which was the American Express really started this back in 1986 when the Statue of Liberty was getting ready for its centennial celebration. And there was a private foundation the government set up to restore the Statue of Liberty. It was 100 years old and it needed a lot of maintenance, and there was a big celebration in 1986 for the centennial of the statue. And so they encouraged individuals to contribute, they encouraged corporations to contribute, and American Express came up with a program. For every new card we issue, we donate $1. For every time the card is used, we donate 1 cent. And it was apparently a big success. The number of card applications went up, the percentage of card uses went up. American Express raked in a lot of money, and they made, I want to say, what do we say? Does it say here how much? Almost $19 million. I didn't remember it as that high, but all right. A lot of money went from American Express to the Statue of Liberty because of this program. I mean, Americans were really turned on by this. And as a matter of fact, it was so successful, American Express continued it for a while with a Feed the Homeless or Feed the Hungry campaign. And usually around Christmas time or Thanksgiving, which is when people are kind of in a holiday mood, that sort of thing, that they, at least for a time being, they had this program where I think every time you use your American Express card, they donated 2 cents to a local food bank, soup kitchen, something like that. And so there are a lot of other examples here that, or at least 4, that I see Donna Wood mentions. And I'll bet you've seen some of your own. There are a few others that I have that tend, anyway, they're all old and expired, and I went online for a little bit today, particularly in an era of social media. There's a lot of, if you will, integration between these cause-related marketing campaigns and then social media stuff. So companies don't just, put it out there. They usually try to get people to log on, to like something, to pass something along, to share it, something like that. So the companies will promote this connection between the sales of a product and then a contribution to a nonprofit organization. And so, I mean, some other things, I think for a while, I think maybe in the month of March, McDonald's does something where they will, every time you buy a shake, maybe something like this, 5 cents from the sale of every shake goes to a Ronald McDonald House. Around about the time the Olympics are going on, so every other year, or every other year, every 2 years. So there are all kinds of companies that support the U.S. Olympic team, and they'll come out just about the time the Olympics are getting started, they will have a campaign that says, if you buy our product, we make a donation to the U.S. Olympic team. There are also another kind of common one. This is going to be kind of generic, but pet food companies oftentimes, or pet supply companies, say if you buy our pet food, we make a contribution to your local pet shelter, humane society, something like that. So here's the key, and at the very end of this section, Donna tells us that, or kind of near the end of it, actually the second to last paragraph is that you have to consider that these programs are bounded by time. The company isn't going to offer this in perpetuity. The company is going to say, all right, for a period of 2 months or 3 months, we're going to have this program. And effective, let's say March 31st, it ends. So we're not going to do this forever. So it's a limited period of time. It is usually for a single product, and it's a very specific ratio. So for every time we sell a product, we make a specific donation. And that's something else that defines this. And the company will promote this. And this sounds like a win-win situation for both the nonprofit organization and for the company. But there are some concerns, and Donna discusses them, and I just kind of want to highlight them because they're worth thinking about. I mean, this is because we're seeing an awful lot of cause-related marketing campaigns that are emerging, and there's some concern that this will replace, if you will, kind of more traditional forms of giving, where companies will look at, if you will, the value that the nonprofit organization has for the community. This community does good. This organization, this nonprofit does great work. Look at how many meals they serve. Look at how many clients they've got. Look at the fact that there's nowhere else. The local government doesn't do anything for this client population. This nonprofit organization does it all. The Red Cross, let's say, for example, disaster relief. Nobody else does something like this. Look at how many people they save. Look at the amount of blood that they collect. All kinds of things like this. And so when when companies are donating money, they tend to look at what kind of impact does the nonprofit organization have in the community. The concern with cause-related marketing is what kind of impact does the cause-related marketing campaign have on our sales. So I'm going to measure this period of time. 3 months, I'm going to partner with, let's say I partner with the Red Cross, and I find out that my sales do not go up. Well, I'm going to kick the Red Cross out of the door. I'm going to look for another nonprofit organization. I now start evaluating these nonprofit organizations, not so much by the value that they create for the community, but by the sales increase they bring to the firm. And there's a concern here about, yes, it is, there's always a certain amount of self-interest that underlies a lot of corporate contributions, but now that level of self-interest begins to dominate. There's a certain amount of cynicism. Donna talks about this, that people begin to see this and say, the company's just trying to sell me stuff. This is not, they're not really interested in supporting breast cancer. They're not really interested in supporting the Red Cross or the pet shelter or whatever. They're just trying to sell me a product. And let's see. Well, let me check in real quick here. Companies are pretending to be charitable. It's for a limited period of time. It might replace more traditional forms of giving. And there's also a concern about just who's using who here. If I'm Campbell Soup, for instance, or Procter & Gamble, and I've got, really major marketing campaigns, and I got great marketing minds behind in my organization, and I want to partner with a nonprofit group, whether it's the Red Cross or Easter Seals or the March of Dimes or somebody like that. Let's suppose there's some sort of thing we're gonna put pink ribbons on our cans of soup, or we're gonna make these donations. And what is the value of this partnership? So if this partnership, let's say between breast cancer and a cans of soup, or between some other nonprofit organization, March of Dimes, let's say, and let's stick with Procter & Gamble or Campbell Soup. Let's say if this partnership can create a certain amount of, let's say, a couple $1 million worth of increased sales for the corporation, how much of that couple $1 million, how's that going to be distributed? And isn't it the corporation, isn't the business with probably an advantage of more information, more knowledge? Is it possible they may take advantage of the nonprofit organizations? These nonprofits don't always know the value of their brands. And so is it possible that this, for every dollar of value, that 98 cents goes to the business and 2 or 3 cents goes to feed the hungry? I mean, really, you think about it. Every time you use the American Express card, 2 cents goes to feed the hungry. How much did American Express get out of this? Now, they need to get something, but do we think this is a fair distribution? So we'll see where cause-related marketing takes us. It seems to be a pretty strong trend right now, and I encourage you just to be mindful as you go through grocery stores, as you go through other big major retail outlets, as you're online, just to watch and acknowledge, recognize these cause-related marketing campaigns, and notice the partnership, and notice how the company uses the campaign to try to sell us more donuts, more paper towels, more orange juice, whatever it is. All right, so that's a little something on that topic, and more to come.